We went to the Electoral Court and challenged the deregistration of Umkhonto Wesizwe, and it was dismissed on the basis that, on technicality, that we did not oppose the matter at the inception of the registration of the party, a matter we intend to contest, but we chose not to. We could have appealed that decision, which in itself is appealable, but we chose not to, for political reasons. That one, it was going to say that we play into the gallery and we delay in the processes and all of that. In the best interest of democracy and all of that, we allowed that to pass. Trademark is a different case altogether. It's about legacy, which we will challenge to the highest court of the land. And there will be no retreat on that. I did explain to you when we were in Durban, when I had the line of questioning of the judge, which I think the judge have chosen an easy way out and not address the matter at point that they were actually dealing with in terms of that particular court. He simply said that this matter does not belong here, it belongs to the Electoral Court, which was supposed to be there. That is something that is not a fact. It is a matter that we'll challenge in terms of the appeal. And we don't intend to argue with the judge otherwise, but to take the matter further in terms of the trademark issue that we're talking about. Because the judge was asking a question to our people to say that, to our legal team, to say that what's going to happen to the paraphernalia that is already there. If you fake Coca-Cola, and then you are not the registered trademark and you go and produce a lot of Coca-Cola and you call it Cola Coke, like the Pakistanis will do here. And then who's the blame to be on in terms of the trademark issue? It is not on Coca-Cola. You've got to take the blame because you produced mass knowing very well that that product does not belong to you. Two, we are not comparing two logos, the ANC flag and MK. We are challenging the trademark that has been seceded to the ANC. It's ours. The judge does not compare the logos, does not address that issue. He addresses issues that were not ventilated in court. That's what he has done in terms of the judgment that he has given to you. Go and check. And those who are in court as well, go and check that. Instead, he agrees with our opponents that they made a cogent case about the fact that we wasted the time of court and the matter does not actually belong there. On the basis of that, punitive measures are actually granted to us. We will appeal all of those in terms of the court above. And we appreciate the fact that in the judgment, the issue that you are addressing, he has granted us the right to appeal. That's what he has done. So if you read the judgment and you understand, you say, are we going to appeal to the same court? We will decide, but he has granted us the right to appeal already. Meaning, I no longer want to deal with this matter, go and see for yourself somewhere else. You know, I'm out of this, and so on. So the issue of the trademark and Umkhonto Wesizwe goes beyond an election to us. The issue of the election and Umkhonto party of Jacob Zuma contesting, we left that issue in Mangaung. Even though we believed that we still had a strong case, we left it there. So Jacob Zuma and his party are on the ballot. So the issue that we contesting Mr. Zuma, we cannot contest a party, a person who has made up his mind about where he wants to go to. He wants to form a party, he wants to bring the ANC below 50% for whatever political reasons. He has outlined that when he launched the party on the 16th of December. So we're very clear. How do you stand against a person who has made up his mind? Again, as the ANC, we have to deal with the question of a person who says, I'm a member of the ANC and at the same time I'm pursuing this. Those issues are before us. The ANC has not called a special meeting of the NEC to reconsider its own decision because Zuma now has registered the party. He has moved many steps since the time we suspended him. as an organization. He has moved many steps. He has formed a party, he's now a leader. When we suspended him, he was just a supporter, not even a leader. The leader was Kumar. Now he's a leader. And he has stood and is in the ballot against the ANC. And he campaigns, not de-campaign, he campaigned effectively against the ANC. So the ANC, when it convenes an urgent meeting and decide to expel Zuma, you are going to say we are promoting him. How do you promote something that lives out there and at the same time has made up its mind about why it exists? It exists on distortions. To an extent that those distortions become a fact and are celebrated by the people, you've got to correct them. And there are many of such. It's not a campaigning issue. It's an issue that you've got to, of course, tactically, on the ground, you've got a choice to entertain those or not to entertain that. And whether or not that makes an impact, it will be seen on the day of the outcome of the election. But the ANC machinery has not been swayed. And I see you talk about a tsunami, I don't know where. Not you, but some other people, but I know what is a tsunami. COPE was big. UDM, when it started, it was big. You know, I'm talking about people who were expelled from the ANC and others who went to work. I've not seen MK where it then becomes a tsunami and all of that. There are many activities that were supposed to take place outside KwaZulu-Natal that have failed of this party, but you continue to characterize it as if it's a threat to the ANC and that we are challenging a threat and we are promoting it. You give Mr. Zuma an airtime, including people we don't know. And his mandate has not been tested in terms of the vote of the people. You give him a mileage more than established political parties in South Africa and cover him live simply because he was former president and is a breakaway to the ANC and his vote is going to hurt the ANC. That can only be the reason. Where has this majority of Zuma been tested? We have not raised any view against that. We contest the election on the ground. We contested the election on the ground. And we are very clear that the election is not contested on paper. It's contested by talking to the people. It's not a given. And we talk to our people door to door. I was in Northwest. I came back last night. I didn't see anybody in the door to door asking me about Zuma. He's got his people on the ground who are doing his work, but nobody in the door-to-door asked me about Zuma. The people in state in their houses, they said, we will vote, but we've got the following things. And we're still committed to the African National Congress. And this is a fact I'm giving you. And the same as other colleagues and leaders have encountered the same. What we are dealing with here, it's a disruption. And it's a deliberate ploy, it's an agenda, it's an operation. And including the fact of buying time, because you know when you throw a dice, you can get a pop in that dice when you throw it. So they are throwing a last dice. And they hope that they'll come up with a pop that will bring the ANC down and then they can do whatever that they want to do. That's what they're doing. And you are telling us that we must not challenge what is right and all of that. It is not possible. We will appeal this particular decision and so on. As to whether these have got a bigger impact on the election, we'll see on the 29th. But I can tell you that the ANC campaign is unstoppable as we speak. And being unstoppable, we are not deterred by anything of this sort. In fact, they are the beneficiaries themselves because they know every time we appear in court with them on these matters, they then have got a limelight. And when they get a little win, easy victory like this, then they balloon it into higher proportions as though it is something big. There's nothing big out of this. We'll challenge it in court to the highest court of the land. We'll argue the facts. And the facts are there. It is appealable, And then we're arguing the issue of the trademark, not the politics that the judge is talking about. Judge is not a politician. He must get out of the politics. We have given him the facts. He should have dismissed us that you don't have an authority over this MK. These things are not the same. We are not arguing MK versus ANC. We're saying MK is ours. Here is the trademark. He doesn't refer to that in the judgment. Nothing about that. It's just politics. In that littered with politics and all of that. That was not our issue. So that is why when the question was posed to our lawyers, we were all perplexed. And the line of questioning, what was this? You see, because the line of questioning basically was saying something else. But those matters will be ventilated in court. We will appeal. He has granted us the right to appeal. The question of it is a wrong forum, where do you contest issues of trademark? In the court of the land. This party was registered in Durban. That's why we went to Durban High Court. It was registered there. Right? The address, domicile, Sitandi is there. We went there. Now, we can't go to the electoral court and argue issues of trademark. We went to the electoral court to argue issues of deregistration. And we did not challenge Mr. Zuma standing as a candidate. A complaint was raised about him, and the IEC upheld that. The matter went to the electoral court. They lost, and they've appealed that matter to the constitutional court. So when you count Zuma's victories, don't include us in that victory of his about the electoral court in relation to his standing as a candidate. We did not join, we were not party to it. It was raised, and it's still standing in the courts of the land, whether or not remission is equal to expunging the criminal record of a person. Those are the matters that have been argued in court. Two things the ANC is standing on: deregistration, we went to court, and then the court ruled against us. And then we went to court, we initiated the trademark issue, and the court have ruled against us and will appeal. That's the second. So the first one we did not appeal. So let's not get there, that we are promoting people and all of that. If we were promoting them, we would have appealed that decision in Bloemfontein by now. We did not. And we think it is appealable, but we don't, because we don't want to delay the election. The judge there in Durban asked our legal team, as though is our obligation, what should happen if he ruled in our favor? We said what we need is that they must change the name, because it doesn't belong to them. It's ours. Zuma can call his party Zuma come back, whatever you call it. Zuma come back ZCB, you know, whatever he calls it. We are not there. We will not be contesting that particular point. This is the legacy. We've got the authority over it, and we will contest it in court. And then newsroom, I've answered the question of High Court and Electoral Court, the distinction between the two. We have answered that. Are we giving MK Party mileage? We're not giving mileage. When Zuma started the campaign to disrupt the ANC, to divide the ANC had to stand up and defend itself. And I think till this far the ANC have stood solid. The ANC is solid. The people who have left in the ANC are well-known culprits who were in any way on their way out. They were disgruntled. They called themselves RT forces. They have left with Zuma. ANC members and leaders are still with the ANC. Everyone who have announced that they've gone with Zuma, I can mention them one by one. Mervyn Dix, a well-known rebel in parliament. He left with Zuma. He's in his party there. Who's new? That fellow there who speaks a lot and threatening the election and all of that is a well-known dubious character. You can go and Google him, check him out. He's well-known in the politics of this country. You can name them one by one. in the different provinces. It's only that Kalni House has gone. I think he regrets that he jumped quicker to Malema. He would have loved to be with MK. That is the group. ACE has lost and is out of contention according to the statutes. I heard last week he jumped to that side. Tell me who's new you don't know in that party, who was in the ANC and they've left. They've not been even campaigning for the ANC, the people who are with Zuma as we speak, starting with Zuma himself. Zuma has long left the ANC when he was defeated in Nazareth. He left. He came there as a rebel, as a branch member. And then he was defeated there. The president was re-elected and all of that. Now, we must accept that somebody says there's an ANC of Ramaphosa. When he was a leader of the ANC, it was the ANC of Zuma. It was never an ANC of Zuma. He was just his privilege to lead at the time that he led. And then Ramaphosa leads now. There's no Ramaphosa's ANC. He's privileged to lead now. There will be another president of the ANC. The same as there was Mbeki, there was Mandela. That's what happens. The distortions that are happening and the opportunism that is happening around this MK party are very much laughable, some of them. And they need to be thwarted. But over and above that, that is not our over-concentration in this particular party. So we're not giving any mileage. We're challenging what it is right. I've seen somebody saying that when COPE was formed, ANC doesn't learn. We lost that case of COPE because we did not have a registered trademark of Congress of the People. And they went to court and said it doesn't belong to the ANC. And we lost. But we knew that they too were taking a chance. Because when they called themselves Congress of the People, they were coming close to the ANC and wanted to garner votes, get back door. And that's what they were trying to do. We challenged them. We challenged them on the ground. They challenged the ANC. And then we won the election. The same will happen with Jacob Zuma. And the COPE was established by far more credible people I can compare. Sam Shilowa was one of our best premiers, well known with track record in the struggle, very clear politically. Terali Kota was our national chairperson. So those were not dubious characters. South Africans could still listen to them. And that is why they got away with the numbers they did. And it was a tsunami, because wherever they go, if probably they didn't fight among themselves, they could have given us a tough time going into the future. But it's just that their struggles were too quick. Now, so compared to this, it's another thing. You know, I don't want to talk about EFF because they too left with what is called economic freedom in our lifetime, which was adopted by the ANC Youth League. But we had not claim over that because it's politics, it's a slogan. We had not claim over economic freedom fighters. That's what they call themselves. But we knew when they left the Youth League, that is the slogan that the Youth League coined. But equally, when the ANC reached 100 years in terms of its strategy and tactics, began to talk about the next phase as a phase of radical economic transformation. And that phase must be defined by economic freedom. It's there in the strategy and tactics of the ANC. So we couldn't go to court and argue and say, no, they left. Even if we say they left, they didn't leave, they were expelled. Zuma was not expelled. He was in the ANC. He decided to implode the ANC from within by creating political parties, encouraging them, not only in this election, even in the last election. And some of those political parties are still there in the terrain. They did claim that our Dalai Lama is Jacob Zuma. And that time, he did not get the result because they promised him that they'll give him 6 million South Africans. And he convened meetings where he told people that the ANC is going to drop below 50%, so you must be ready. Ramaphosa will never govern this country. In the last election, he said we'll get 43%. We did not. We got 57%. So in this election, they are hoping that we'll drop below 50%, and then they will dictate terms in terms of what must happen in the country. So that's what Jacob Zuma is about, and his political party. If you can ask him about his manifesto and all of that, where it was launched, what happened, and so on, you will never find it anywhere. It is led by interim leaders everywhere, and people are dismissed every weekend. And that is it. And he changes, he becomes the leader as and when it favors him. And that is it. This is not a political party, it's a project. And it's a project meant to disrupt the ANC, and not for any other purpose, for Mr. Zuma's interest, disguised as a radical form of things to happen that Ramaphosa and his so-called ANC have not done. Who himself he has been party to in terms of this organization. This organization has become better and is going to become better and healthier going forward. In terms of policy, direction, certainty, leading the people with integrity, that's what is going to happen with this ANC going forward, because the ANC have adopted the renewal program, which Jacob Zuma never embraced. He has never embraced that. The first point of call of the rejection of that renewal is the outcome of the Zondo Commission, which he himself have called on all of us, which even myself, I went to the Zondo Commission. When he launched it, he said all ANC members and everybody must go and appear before the Zondo Commission. He left there before lunchtime. And he defied, and he defied, and defied, and defied, and defied. But what have we done? Nothing. We did nothing to him. But he brings the whole organization there and want to bring the entire movement down. And that is it. And then, at best, let the ANC die rather than if my issues are not addressed. What are those issues? Whom have we raised those issues with? We don't know. Not with us. And from where we are standing as this leadership, we did nothing wrong to him. And we were equally shocked and dismayed by his actions. As much as we've been very much cautious and circumspect in dealing with some of the issues that is raising, to the point where in which, to the opposite of what you people of the media and others are raising, that we've never attacked Zuma. We just refer to him in passing, that's all. And then we've never said anything major about him and all of that. So neither our president or anyone, they cry about me. What have I said? I only say that he's somebody, when I look at him, is very thankless. And that's all what I said. I didn't say anything about his party, his movement and anything. He's got a movement and that's it. His people threaten ANC members every day in KZN. And they espouse violence every day. Nobody has spoken about that. They threaten elections every day. Nobody has spoken about that. What is violent about us? What have we done? We've never disrupted these meetings. We don't tear apart posters of political parties. Our members are just busy with their business as usual. And that's what we are doing. So we will not allow the legacy of the liberation movement to be trampled over without a response. So we will respond, and that's how we are responding. And we're not blaming any court. We will challenge the court, where we think that the court has got shortcomings in relation to what we raised. We've got nothing against Judge Chetty. He's done his job to his own ability. We are allowed by the law to respond. We've got a recourse as a party to respond to that judgment, which in our view, it's political. It does not address the issues that we placed before him. It's unfortunate. We are disappointed by that. Nonetheless, we will study it and go to the next step of appealing the judgment. That we are going to do. Thank you very much.
Thank you, SG. I have a question. I have a question from Tando Maiko from Business Day. I'm watching the briefing virtually. Please ask the SG why Zuma has not been expelled by the party, considering that he has violated so many of the party rules. That will be the first in the second round of questions, and the second round of questions, I'm hoping it will be the final one. I'm going to start this side again, Kenny, and then I'll move in this direction.
Thank you, Mr. Malula. I just wanted to add to that question that you've intimated actually many times on this podium. So I think the question on the South African mind is, what is the finality of the role of the former president, at least with reference to the ANC? Now that you know he's the leader, now that you know they're going to elections with that ballot, with his face on the ballot, please give us an indication as to what is the final standing of the former president. And then, sorry, Mr. Malula, I don't think you answered the question on urgency. Because you approached that court on an urgent basis, essentially it made a finding on urgency, but went into the merits for the benefit of an appeal process. But in the urgency question, it stated that you have failed to give a sufficient or satisfactory explanation behind the delay in bringing this or launching the application before the High Court. And I was asking for a response on that because that speaks to the question of ulterior purpose, which was raised by the respondent, stating that the ANC only really acted or took this newly formed party seriously once the announcement had been made by the former president in December, then kicking off those applications until about January.
Thank you very much. Do I have a hand this side? No, I don't. I'll move on to the left. I will start with a colleague that hasn't had a chance to ask a question. We'll start with you, and then I will come to newsroom.
Good afternoon. Raymond from just on HG, there was a hearing that was late an MEC meeting, and it stated that it was also almost a directive for ANC, these part of the resources to be used for ANC. It is comment on it, and it was directive from the ANC that state resources must be used for this election. And then just another question. Yesterday I was such a case of a group of Afrikaner communities. They said that they're willing to work with the government, they're prepared to give their expertise. Just want to comment on the latest story.
Thank you very much. Newsroom.
Go ahead, thank you. Sorry.
Newsroom. I'm anchoring, Siamtan. It's not News 24 anchoring the press briefing.
Junior Mohan again from Newsroom Africa. SG, on the question of the trademark itself, trademarking the name on content in the law, was that done by the ANC or was it done by Legacy Trust? So if it is by Legacy Trust, when did it seek the trademark to the ANC, if this has happened? Thank you.
Thank you very much. News 24.
At the very beginning of the dispute with the NPO party, the SG specifically said that the key, one of the issues is confusion amongst voters, people who might be confused by the two votes. Is that something that is still keeping you up at night, worrying you? Are you talking about it, and to what extent? Please, thank you.
Thank you very much. That will be the final set of questions. And I'm going to now hand over to the SG. Thank you.
The decision to expel anybody is a decision that will be taken by the party in relation to the disciplinary processes of the organization. And should that be taken any further to expel anyone, it is a decision that will be taken by the National Executive Committee. I'm saying Mr. Zuma is no longer can be regarded as a member of the ANC, given the fact that he's been temporarily suspended as a member of the ANC as we speak. From the time the NEC met and took a decision to temporarily suspend him and basically follow the due processes that every member of the ANC does follow in such circumstances, there's been many developments after that. Developments that include the fact that now Mr. Zuma has taken a firm decision to form a party, to become its leader, and to be on the ballot in opposite to the ANC. So, which means he has now completely left and defined himself outside anything else that you can think of. He's no longer double parking. He's now an opposite leader of the ANC. So he has left. Now, a matter that the NEC itself, when it meets, will take a decision about. And all what I'm saying to you is that, will I want to call the NEC meeting to deal with that matter specifically? Or will we leave the matters to the DC? That is the matter that we need to deal with as the party. And when the party meets from time to time, it will reflect on the issue and decide what it wants to do. But between me and you and the public, he has left. So there's no longer a matter of where do I stand? I'm a member, I'm not, I want to rescue, I don't. No, there's no longer a claim. I am, and the ANC constitution is very clear about that. You don't even need a DC for a person like that. I mean, when Terra Likota left, the ANC did not resign. He just formed COPE, and they were gone with Sam Shiloh and them. What's the difference today between that and Zuma? You must expect that Zuma has been playing these tactics because he wants to say he was expelled, when he has expelled himself from the party. So that tactic equally works for him, and in galvanizing victim syndrome approach of Jacob Zuma, so to say, because he thrives on that. So he wants to say he was expelled. So what we will not do, we will not stop what we're doing and basically convene on Zuma, who has left the ANC. He's not a member. He's temporarily suspended, he's subjected to disciplinary processes. Whilst those processes are continuing, he has left the organization. He's now a leader confirmed of MK Party that we are in court contesting its existence. And that's what has happened. So I'm not sure when we are 30 days before we vote, we will take everybody from the ground to come and talk about Zuma. I don't think a self-respecting political party will do that. When a man has left, we are on the ground with him. They opposed us this direction of him, there's this direction of the ANC. So why should we call a meeting for that? He has left the party. And like all others, it's a question of formality, of sitting down and saying, what do we do? And all of that. So that is the issue that we need to be clearer about. So he has followed the same direction that others have. When Terra Likota left the ANC, he said he's giving us divorce papers. And even before the divorce could be settled, he was gone. And then he announced a party called Congress of the People. I think he became a leader, or somebody else became a leader. They were party two, and all others. So I don't remember a letter written to Luthuli House that we have resigned. Nothing of that sort. They left, and they are regarded to be that their membership have automatically lapsed. The ANC constitution is very clear in relation to that matter. I think I've answered the SAPC matter also in terms of finality on the matter of Jacob Zuma. So where we stand today from where we were 2 months or 3 months ago, it's a different ball game together. We're talking about a person who leads a party, who have established a party, and who leads it against the ANC in this election. And that is it. The question of agency and all of that will be argued in the context of the appeal and what the judge has actually said. Those matters are noted by our legal team, including the entire judgment, and then they will respond accordingly to that. But firmly, we are clearer that this judgment, there are bases to take it on, and that is what we're going to do. and politically, we have said, as I've said in Durban, that we're defending the legacy of the ANC and the liberation struggle. And that's what we're doing. So we're not going to let this go. And that is it. It's not about the party participating in the election. Jacob Zuma is already on the ballot in terms of the MK party. The issue for us has not been about him participating, has been him participating using our trademark, which is Umkhonto weSizwe. That's it. That has been an issue. Now, where the judge gets it wrong is when he compares and says there will be no confusion between the ANC logo and the MK. That's not the issue. The question is, this is our trademark. It belongs to us. And that we will not allow it to be used. If you talk about Umkhonto weSizwe in South Africa, even to a child, it resonates with the struggle for liberation as led by the African National Congress. And that is the point. So the question of agency and all of those will then be attended in that context of the appeal. The recordings, we don't respond to that, because when you are in a meeting and there is mischief, people recording meetings and all of that, people, when they are in a meeting, they speak their mind. And that does not become the position necessarily of the ANC. If I'm the SG, I present to the meeting. I don't present an ANC position. It's a meeting. So when people invade that space, either by members of ANC by extension, who are mischievous, undermining their party, or otherwise, others intercepting ANC meetings, which is illegal. If the ANC was going to make it its business to intercept meetings of political parties, you will be accusing us of using state resources against our opponents. I've got no doubt. If I can stand here in public and say I've got a recording of the DA, the first question you are going to ask, what business you've got to record your opponents as a political party? And you go around flouting it, writing about it, it is leaked, and all of that, and you don't even speak about its illegality. You speak about the fact that here is the recording of the ANC meeting, you celebrate it, it is leaked, we don't know by who, and then you don't speak about interception, because that was a recorded meeting of Zoom. You talk about leaked. So if you talk about leak, what is the difference between leak and interception? Because the meeting was on a digital platform. And from where I'm seated, it looks like somebody was intercepting our conversation. And this conversation is simple. We are preparing for an election. And in preparing for an election, you do what all other political parties do. You would have had a point if ever we were plotting the demise of others through illegal means in our meeting. We didn't. We mind our business. And the interpretation of what we say in that meeting and what an individual says in that particular meeting is their interpretation. It's not the resolution of the ANC up until I come here and I pronounce it as a resolution of the meeting. Because what you pronounce in the meeting, or what Mahlengi says, or what I say, it is not alpha and omega. It's not a decision of the meeting. I can be called to brief meetings like it happens all the time. I call these individuals. It's not an ANC position. Now, you are asking us about the leaked recording, which has actually been circulated. I had one political party leader says, I was listening to the ANC recording. You never took him on about it. Where did you get it? You laughed because it's not the ANC. It's fine for an opposition leader to tell you that he's got ANC recordings of another political party. The media of South Africa doesn't question that. If I can stand in this platform and say I've got the recordings of people, what they are plotting and all of that, is their business. The ANC must mind its business to win an election free and fair. We live in a democratic state. You know, in this country, we come from a period where state institutions were used, and it was alleged they are actually being used in political affairs. We come from there. And we took a stand that never again will that be allowed under our watch. Worst of all, rogue elements taking chances, recording or intercepting political forums. We'll catch them. We don't have the means. We'll ask the state, because you are interfering with our freedom. We'll ask the state that we seek protection because we don't have illegal means. We are liberated. We fought for freedom. Our rights are enshrined in the Bill of Rights, like all political parties. If somebody sits with you as a journalist and give you a download of our meeting, it's not your problem. It's a problem of that individual and his integrity and his political consciousness. That person have decided to become a double agent. As a leader, he has denigrated himself or herself to work for the opposition. He has basically lost all integrity. And that is it. It's not the problem of the journalist. If you've got police and sleepers in the ANC, it's a problem of ANC leaders. You know, the other day, they leaked the ANC list. And then already it was said that, hey, ANC, I was having that list for a period, for the longest of time. It never leaked. I gave it to IEC, it leaked. You know how? Somebody working for the IEC leaked that information everywhere else, not to the press. And then I got questions. And then I said, I didn't leak any list. And IEC admitted, because it's an integrity. It leaked from our sources, they made follow-up, and that person was extricated from the IEC. The same here. It's an unethical conduct if anybody in the ANC can do that. And it is unethical, it is unlawful to intercept meetings, and you expect us to spend the weekend answering leaked information. And then we must answer that we had a meeting through Zoom discussing elections, and then you've got the leaked or intercepted information. Hey, what do you mean? Because you will misinterpret that, my brother, definitely, because you will misinterpret, because we are a ruling party, we run the state, I mean by extension as a ruling party, we've got access over the state and we police our public representatives. And when you blame the ANC about load shedding, you have never asked me where do I get reports. I convene ministers, they give us reports, and then we tell them what we think must actually happen. They give reports to the executive structures. We brief you as the media through our ministers about programs of government. Never have we ever come with this notion that we are abusing state resources. We are in an election campaign now. John Esteysen is hot now. He doesn't have issues. He just concocts something there that the president is misusing state resources, and at the same time by saying that there is a job plan. Job plan is in our manifesto. How many jobs we are going to create is in our manifesto. I talk about it every day. Different departments of the state are talking about the things that they are doing practically. I talk about those things because they are good for our people. Where does the misuse of state resources come in there and all of that? So I understand perfectly from an opposition that does not have an issues to convince society. You will stoop to that level of fabricating things that don't work out. The campaign is heavy and all of that. Afrikaners and all patriots are welcomed in our country. And if Afrikaners say they are here to work for South Africa, they want to contribute, that is news, good news for South Africa. And that must be welcomed. It's very important. The trademark issue, newsroom, has been seeded long time ago. It has been addressed in the papers. And those are the issues that must come out of the judgment. But they are not being addressed there. Because we went to the High Court clearly to address the issue of the trademark. There are two issues. I repeat again, there are two issues. The other one is the breach. which people say, no, we could have prevented that. The ANC did not act. And then after the effect, the ANC wanted to challenge that. We went to court, we told the court the truth. We said to the court, we were not aware. After we were made aware that there is an MK party that is registered, we challenged that. IEC met and said that we missed the deadline of the Gazette. And then we took them on and on and on and on, up until the electoral court. And then we told the court that that's truth, and the court ignored that and said, no, it's not our business. This party is registered, done and dusted. They ignored everything. Now, electoral court, that's not where we argue the history of Umkhonto weSizwe. Because electoral court is dealing mainly with the question of this is the same as this probably, and all of that, and that we can rule on that. All right, those are the politics they have to deal with. And the fact that this party must be deregistered because, and all of it. But they wouldn't deal with the issues of the trademark and all of those. They don't belong there. So we have to take them up in another court. Whether we take it on urgent basis and all of that, it was important for us to do so. Because this party is masquerading for what it is, but it is our trademark. So we challenged that by all means necessary, the same as what we will do actually going forward. So the trademark issue has always been with us. Last point is the question of the confusion among the voters and all of that. National to national list, the ANC is number 4 there. 1, 2, 3, 4. In different provinces, number 7, 12, and all of that. Our argument has not been about the similarities. It's about a benefit of a political party because of history. I don't know how in common law you interpret that, which was argued in court in terms of the trademark issue. Okay? I'm not a lawyer. You benefit out of the fact that our history is common, and this is what our people know. So your slogans, what you say, and whatever you talk about in terms of the history of a party, people will benefit because they will say it's not different from this party. Not that there will be confusion when you go to the voting poll, but you seek to benefit indirectly. If you run a party and you don't want the ANC, you form a political party, and then you challenge the ANC. In your own name and right, there are many. My money, there are many. We have formed political parties around South Africa. We don't agree for ANC for these reasons, not even the ANC, we stand for this. There are many. They don't go and take the logo, some colors of the ANC, and then you put them there and you hope to confuse society with that. It doesn't work like that. Zuma, if he believes that he's got a point to make and that he wants to form a party, he would have gone for something totally independent and not provoking and doing what he's doing. First, you say, I've not left the ANC. I'm rescuing the ANC with this formation. That's where you start. And then from there, you come and then you say, no, actually, this party belongs to me. I'm leading it now. It's MK. Oh, the ANC is challenging this party. No, they shouldn't challenge it because it doesn't belong to them. Jacob Zuma goes to town in Soweto about the history of Umkhonto weSizwe, albeit distorted. He distorted. He talked about our MK. And then he says, this is the party I'm going to vote for. I'll teach you about the history of Umkhonto weSizwe. And then some MK commanders, they challenge him. They say that Zuma never belonged to, in terms of hierarchy, to the high command of Umkhonto weSizwe. These are commanders who belong to Umkhonto weSizwe. Yes, he was there in the underground, carried out operations, which landed him in Robben Island and all of that. One way or the other, somebody belonged to Mkhonto Wesizwe, right? Not by carrying out weaponry in terms of fighting, either by spreading the ideas underground and all of that, being trained politically and all of that, and so on. So you can't say he did not play a part in the activities of MK, or he has not undergone political and military training. He would have undergone that. It's possible. And then he goes to town and talk about the history of MK, which we challenge him that, but you have expropriated it now to yourself. That's what we say in the court papers. You have expropriated this thing that you are talking about on the 16th to yourself. It is now belonging to you. And then you use the law to basically maneuver around and technicalities, which he has succeeded thus far. Now, people say to us, no, you are afraid of MK, leave it. We go to Bloemfontein, we challenge them, we left them. But we then go, we say, but what happens to this trademark? Because we've got it, it's ours. We wouldn't allow anybody to use the name Mkhonto Wesizwe and with the emblem. Similar. They are tweaking it every day, I can see. Even the judge has not spoken about it in the papers, but we've put it to them. So the issue is not about ANC emblem versus MK emblem. It's about what has been seceded to the ANC as a trademark that belonged to the ANC today, which is Mkhonto Wesizwe that Zuma has got. Jacob Zuma didn't go and call his party Mkhonto Wesizwe with a different emblem. He called it Mkhonto Wesizwe with everything and only added party at the end. And then when he launched this party in Soweto, he went back to the history of Mkhonto Wesizwe and basically talked about it. And that's it. Now, which self-respecting political party that its own assets are basically stolen in that manner, and you don't basically stand up to correct the legacy? Our liberation struggle does not exist only for now. It is a legacy that generations will inherit. And in that inheritance, they will know that there is an old man of the ANC who at some point broke away from the party, took the emblem and everything of Mkhonto Wesizwe and turned it into a party and contested the ANC. History will know that. And they will ask the question, exactly then what was MK? That history is not replaceable. You've got to answer in the liberation struggle, what then was Mkhonto Wesizwe? We will then answer that question. And what is it that we're defending? And that is it. So, as I conclude, are we contesting? We are very much clear that we are 30 days away from the election. Our campaign have gathered storm. We are more formidable than ever in terms of this campaign. We've got no issues with whoever and his political party. We defend what is ours. Elections may as well arrive with MK being voted and all of that, with this emblem of ours and all of that. But that doesn't stop us from challenging this. And this appeal will continue in that particular context. We have accepted that this thing is happening, it is there, and all of that, and we have not changed. Our campaign has not focused on Jacob Zuma, as it were. We have focused on energizing our people and accounting to them, giving a feedback what we have done, and also taking from them what they think of us, and so on. And we are very much focused on that particular task. So MK is coming on our way, not us on their way. You see, so it's coming on our way, and it might as well be defined as provocation, but it's a provocation that cannot go unchallenged. And that is what is fundamental about this. Thank you.
Thank you very much, SG. Members of the media, I think we have ventilated this matter sufficiently, outlining the ANC's next steps and our position that remains going forward. At this point, I'd like to adjourn the presser. Thank you very much for coming through.
We are done with Mkondo Wesizwe now, ne? Thank you. Zuma has won cases, it's fine. So siyekile nalondo leyo. Siqhubeke too much. Siyabulela inkosi.